From Reminder Media, this is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business. Hosted by the VP of Marketing, Josh Stake, and Reminder Media's president, Luke Acree. So get ready to hear the golden nuggets that will allow you to live a life of freedom tomorrow, but only if you take action today.
Welcome to another Silver Dollar episode of Stay Paid, where we bring you the most actionable sales, marketing, leadership, and personal development advice in 15 minutes or less. Let me set my timer. Make sure we get that. And you probably guessed it based on the release date of this episode, but it is that time of year again. The calendar's about to roll over to January.
Yeah, I did see a meme, though, man, that was like, it rolled over, and instead of, it was like 12/31, instead of 1/1/2021, it was 13/1/2020.
Dude, that is amazing. It feels like that in 2020. But hey, there's a lot of individuals and small businesses resolving to change their ways to be more successful, happier, or just better in general. Yes, it's time for our annual New Year's resolutions, but why do we make them, and do they really work? According to studies, more than 50% of Americans make New Year's resolutions, and 80% of those fail. So we're going to walk through just some steps, kind of talk about a little bit of motivation for sticking with your goals.
Yeah, isn't it they fail by March too?
13/1/20.
Like the majority of people fail their New Year's resolution by March.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was March. I don't think it made it past the first month.
Why is that? What's your personal take on why do people suck at achieving their New Year's resolutions?
Because they don't actually plan on changing anything. They just really want to.
It's like a dream,
be different.
Right?
Yeah.
Or what is it? It's like a dream without a plan is a wish.
It's a wish, yeah.
Yeah. So I would tend to agree. I think it's twofold. I think they have no plan to get there.
Yep.
And the results are outcomes of your habits, right? Yep. Your activities. And then second is they don't have the proper motivation to influence them to change.
Yeah, I think that
like the goal's not big enough.
Well, people look at it as how to say this. They're not intentional in it, right? So they don't look at it. If you were to set out in your business and you were to set out to make a certain amount of revenue and you were to figure out how many sales you needed and how many calls you needed to make every day. We talk about this all the time with reverse engineering your business goals. How many of us are doing that with our personal goals? How many are saying, if I want to lose this much weight, or let's say I want to get down to this weight, just using weight because it's like the most common one. I think it's the number one thing is to exercise or to lose weight. How many are looking at that and saying, by what date do I want to get down to that weight?
Yep.
Right? What do I need to do every day to burn the calories that will get me to that weight, or burn the fat that will get me to that weight?
How many pounds a week?
What does my diet need to be in order to get to that weight? And then actually doing the things, the habits that you're talking about, are doing those things every single day. That it's the Twyla Tharp talks. I actually wrote it down because Twyla Tharp, she wrote a book called The Creative Habit. Read it a long time ago. This quote always stuck with me. I want to read this entire quote because she talks about ritual, and she's a ballet dancer. She's like a world-renowned ballet dancer. She goes, I begin each day of my life with a ritual. I wake up at 5:30 a.m., put on my workout clothes, my leg warmers, my sweatshirts, and my hat. I walk outside my Manhattan home, hail a taxi, and tell the driver to take me to the Pumping Iron Gym at 91st Street and 1st Avenue where I work out for 2 hours. The ritual is not the stretching and the weight training I put my body through for 2 hours each morning. The ritual is the cab. The moment I tell the driver where to go, I have completed the ritual. It's a simple act, but doing it the same way each morning habitualizes it, making it repeatable, easy to do. It reduces the chance that I would skip it or do it differently. It's one more item in my arsenal of routines and less to think about. James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits as well, where he talks about the idea of it's the running shoes. You want to run every day? Don't tell yourself I'm going to get up every day and run. Tell yourself I'm going to wake up every day and put on my running shoes. And the minute that you put on your running shoes, your mind is now committed and you have to do it.
Is it the simplicity of the act? That's what I think too. Like 100%. Your exercise will change. It's not consistent, right? It's the amount of effort you put in is going to change. It's not going to be consistent. But getting in that cab can be consistent.
Yes.
Like putting on the running shoes can be consistent.
Yes.
That's a great way to think about it. Now, I've actually not really thought about it that way. Is making it more simple so you can execute it every single day. I also think it's
extremely specific. You know, it's don't go so broad with your resolutions, your idea. Like even the idea of smoking, like I want to quit smoking. Like that's such a hard freaking thing for anybody who out there who has smoked or has quit smoking or smokes now. Like you know how impossible it is to quit smoking. But you can plan a ritual Now, whether or not that's getting into like a support group or whatever, I don't really know. Like what you're going to do to quit smoking. What's going to? All of it sounds so corny, whenever you talk about.
Dude,
I smoked for many years, so it's a hard thing to break. But once you get into that point of I'm committed to it, I'm doing it for myself.
Yep.
If you're doing it for someone else, or you're doing it for external reasons, like that idea of doing the calculator of how much money you would save, like I forget what it was. Like if I had not smoked for as long as I did, I could have a yacht at this point, right? Like that kind of stuff.
Wait, you seriously?
Yeah, it's like I forget how long it is. It's crazy.
No, but you personally could have had a yacht if you would have stopped smoking. That's crazy, dude.
I don't know if I could have had a yacht.
Man, you've smoked a lot of cigs. No.
Well, think about it. Like now, I don't know. When I started smoking, it was $2 a pack. And, I think nowadays I drove by the gas station. It's like $8.50 a pack or something.
Gosh.
That's a day.
That is a
Some
yacht,
people
dude.
smoke 2 or 3 packs a day.
Well, that's like people in coffee. Like, think about
when
people were going.
Josh
has
Why do you have to bring the coffee into it?
Well, not to come right for your neck, Josh, but think about it. Like, think about how many people will go when they were going into the office, going and getting a coffee every single day. Like, I did that at one point.
It's
I would
$3.
come here.
Yeah, it's $3 for Starbucks. I started drinking my Cure eggs again.
I calculated it at the end of the year. Like, if I went 3 times a week, which I definitely did more than that, but if I went 3 times a week for an entire year, and it is mind-blowing how much, when you look at the total number, it's insane.
I also think the biggest part with those, and this brings it up because I tried to quit coffee once too, and I switched to tea. And the one day that I had coffee because I didn't have any tea,
you felt
done.
Yeah,
went right back to coffee full time.
Yeah, you can never break the habit. That's why they say you must go to the gym every day type idea, because you can't break the habit. Once you break the habit, it's easier now. Once you allow yourself to sleep in one day, it's easier to sleep in the next day. And it's even easier to sleep in the next day.
Who were we talking to on the podcast that it was like the amount of effort it takes to lose the weight? And I don't think he was talking about weight. I think he used an example. He was talking about like building a business. It was a selfie we were talking about. He's like looking back and realizing that he does not envy people who are starting their journey right now.
Yes.
Because how hard it is
to climb the mountain.
To climb the mountain versus how easy, quote unquote, easy it is to stay on top of the mountain requires consistency over time, right? That's the difficult part.
Oh, it's perfect.
It's not hard to run down the street. It's extremely hard to run down the street and to keep going and to run that street for 20 minutes, then to run it for 30 minutes and do that every single day. But getting to the point where you're physically conditioned to be able to do that is so much harder than to just to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, I also think you got to find what kind of motivates you and what holds you accountable, because you had mentioned like, you got to set the goal for yourself, not for others. But I actually am more accountable and more motivated when others are depending on me. I don't know why Megan will tell me this all the time. She'll go, you won't buy anything for yourself. You won't do anything, for the house or anything like that. But if someone asks you to do something, whether it's at church, at the business, something, you'll be up at 1 a.m. doing it for them. It's just like, I don't know what it is about how I was conditioned or raised or kind of how my brain works. But if someone else is depending on me, that's going to get done. Like, I'm not going to give in. I'll be there. But if it's me,
someone else that if someone else is like, let's say a doctor or whatever, like, hey, Luke, you need to lose weight. Like, would you do it for the doctor?
Well, the emotional connection has to be there. So I think one of the key things is going like, hey, Luke, my life depends on it. You need to lose weight. Like, I'm having a daughter, right? Ooh, my cholesterol's high. Well, I got to get that cholesterol down, right? Now, I never get that cholesterol.
Your perspective.
Yeah, I would never get the cholesterol down for myself. But for my daughter, I'm definitely going to get that cholesterol down. So I think it goes into, it's not necessary. It's what motivates you and what drives you. And if you're not succeeding in your goals, you haven't found the emotional drive yet, like what you really want out of life.
Yeah, no,
and
totally.
you got to keep diving deeper and deeper. And Grant Cardone would talk about setting even bigger goals. Ed Milet, same way. Is your goals not big enough? Because
Grant Cardone does the daily goal of like one thing that you can accomplish today, one thing that you want to accomplish this year, and then one thing that you'll never be able to accomplish. Yeah. And he says to write those 3 things down every single day.
And imagine who's going to win, the person who writes it down 365 days a year, or the person that does it one time January 1st. Right? You know what I mean? Who's more likely to hit their goals? The person who focuses on their target or the one who barely focuses on it? Tom Ferry, who we had on the episode, and Ariel can find the episode number, but I love what he does. He constantly, with him and his wife, they do this. They focus on their 20-year vision also. So his goals play into his 20-year vision, and he has this whole stuff, you can look into it, of like, he'll write a letter to himself and to his kids, and he'll do things like, what do I want my life to look like? And that inspires him all the way to the yearly goal that he's setting for himself. And so much is the motivation of why are you doing what you're doing? What is this about? And for me, my motivator is that, like, I'm building a real estate business on the side, an investing business, right? And one of the massive motivators is my dad is a pastor, doesn't have anything for retirement. And the goal would be to get him to be able to have retirement through this real estate investing. That motivates me in the painfulness of the real estate investing that we've gone through, whether it's the flips or the rentals and dealing with the tenants and stuff. And that's a motivator for me. The money, yeah, it's great to have the money in the real estate, but I've tied it to something personal for me, which keeps me going and investing and building this real estate portfolio.
Right.
So I think you really got to find that emotional connection in your goals. And if you're setting
20-year vision, the idea, like I've heard other people say, like, write your own obituary.
Yeah, that's
like,
a great
write your
idea.
obituary of your life, basically your legacy, what you want people to say about you, or what you want your obituary to say. And then from that perspective, if you do that, and that sets sort of your vision, then from a daily perspective, you can look at that and say, is what I'm doing right now today getting me closer to that vision of what I want to see at the end of my life?
So it's almost like, don't set a weight loss goal. Set it, but first find out why the weight loss. Like, don't set a 100K salary goal. First find out why the 100K salary. Like, what is this Think and Grow Rich? It's like the vision board. It's like, what's the vision board? Because that's what's going to keep you going. It's not knowing that you have to make your 50 calls today in order to get the 2 appointments, in order to close one of those appointments a week, which will get you the 100K, right? Whatever you reverse engineer. That's not going to wake you up to do the calls. But the why, the passion is what's going to wake you up. It's got to be emotional. It's got to be like a life or death, at least in my opinion.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Tom Ferry's episode was 117.
117. So go watch that episode with Tom Ferry, because it's a great episode, and we'll introduce you to him if you've never heard about him. And he has so much good stuff.
Absolutely. We can get that episode and this one and all of the show notes at staypaidpodcast.com.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. We really, 2020 was a good year.
Crazy year.
We did it. We did it. We made it. Forget about it. It's gone.
Yep.
It's in the past. It's 2020 vision.
Unless it turns 13/1 2020.
No, I'm serious. So I've seen so many people, like, and we get into like the memes and the jokes and everything about this year and how crazy it was. Look, man, we're here.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
The next year is going to be, I don't care what happens in the world. It's going to have as many challenges. It's going to be just as hard. You're still going to have to wake up. You're still going to have to do the daily habits that get you to where you want to be in your life, to get you where you want to be at the end of that life, maybe even. So if there's anything that we can do to encourage you there, it's just stay focused on the vision, keep going. Make sure you're subscribed to Stay Paid on Apple Podcasts.
For that daily motivation.
No, we really appreciate it. We do want to say Happy New Year's to everybody. Thank you for following us on this journey this past year. We are now coming up on our 4th year of Stay Paid. So we just celebrated January, I don't think it was January 1st. Do you know the exact date? Was it January 8th? 2017, I think, was our first podcast in a closet. We're actually going to be moving into a new studio this year.
Unbelievable.
So keep an eye out for that. You can go over to staypaidpodcast.com, check out the videos. We don't know which episode exactly it will be. That's how we're going to get you to keep coming back to the website each episode.
And we have a stellar lineup of guests. Like, no joke.
Yeah,
like, this is going to be our best year. No offense to all the other guests we've had. We're going to have some of you back. No, but this is going to be a stellar
best year, but just a little bit. No, we want to hear who you guys want us to have on the show.
Yeah, that would be awesome too. Yeah.
I had someone email the other day. They said, you guys should have Seth Godin on the show. So I emailed him yesterday morning. Emailed him at like 6:30 in the morning. He responded at like 6:50. Thanks, but no thank you. It won't work out. And I said, Seth, that really kind of hurt. It was it's almost like I was telling Dan.
It's a New Year goal. Stay on him.
I was telling Dan, I almost kind of wish he wouldn't have answered.
That's awesome.
So Seth, if you're listening, we would still love to have you on. I've been following Seth Godin forever. He actually has a new book out called The Practice.
Nice.
So I wanted to check out, see if we could interview him about that. But to support the show, we would love it if you'd subscribe to Apple Podcast and leave us a 5-star review. Comment, let us know how we're doing. The best way to help out the show in 2021 is to tell a friend and share it on your social media. Make sure you're tagging at Stay Paid Podcast Podcast. That's where we are on Instagram. You can also reach us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And for the dad joke of the episode, it's a little bit themed. This one I chose because this one took me at least 40 seconds to get. 2020 went by like a blur. My New Year's resolution must have been too low. Because resolution, like screen resolution, is blurry.
Whoa.
2020 went by like a
Man,
blur.
that's deep.
All right, I'm glad it wasn't just
That is a deep
I didn't even get it.
dad joke. Took me a while to get it. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree. Guys, your action item from this is obviously you need to plan out your goals, and I would really challenge you to tie them to something that's you're passionate about, that you're emotional about, that will get you out of bed in the morning every single morning. And I'm going to close out with some motivation that we got from Jocko from Extreme Ownership, which is he said to us and he said to our whole company, look, some days you're going to show up and you're going to be motivated to do your work, motivated to make your sales calls if you're in sales. He said, good, do it. He said, other days you're going to show up and you're not going to be motivated. And he said, good, do it anyways. That's the key to success as you enter into 2021. Do it anyways. Appreciate you guys. Remember this, the difference between a top producer and a mediocre producer in every single business is top producers take action. Take action in 2021.
Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.